Hey guys, how we doing? So today I'm going to go over the weapons and swarm of League of Legends, and I'm going to break it down to how these weapons are good and how these weapons are bad. I know it depends on the champion for some of them, but only a few of them that I'll go over. That's kind of like that. So again, I said this in my champions tier list video. I've seen a lot of people do these tier lists, but they've never beaten the game on extreme. So because I beat the game on extreme and I put a lot of hours into Swarm, I'm gonna give you my tier list. So let's start off with Anti-Mines. Anti-Mines I think is a C tier weapon. It's good when you want to focus on the enemies in front of you when you're running around in a circle, because naturally the enemies behind you, they die, right? But I normally don't pick this at all. Normally don't pick this. The Anti-Shark C mine, I'm going to put it in D tier. It's not good. Even when you evolve it, it's not that good. You can find better damage options. Bunny Crossbow. Bunny Crossbow is good on every single champion, in my opinion. Even Aurora, even Leona, when you don't want to build something like this on Leona. It's just extremely good. I'm putting in S tier. Now, the non-evolved version isn't that great, but you don't want it for the non-evolved version. You want it for the evolved version. The evolved version gives you 30 extra projectiles when it casts, which basically is an entire circle around you, and it does a good amount of damage too. So if you pair this with this item right here, it's pretty good AoE. So Bunny Crossbow I think is good on every champion. Now the Bladerang. Bladerang I'm going to put on A tier. I think it's one of the first items that you can unlock. Or I think it's already unlocked. I think it's good. It's good before you get the Bunny Crossbow. So, but obviously the Bunny Crossbow is better. So I think Bladerang is just good. Again, it's another good kind of AoE-ish when if you're going in AoE routes or an AoE build. I think it's good. Now the Bunny Mega Blast. The Bunny Mega Blast is one of those where you want to build it only if you're building like crits. For example, like on Zaya or maybe Yasuo or on Jinx. I think it's great on those champions. I think it's definitely S tier on those champions. But, you don't really play those champions all the time. So because of that, I'm going to put it in A tier. Put it in A tier. Ice Blast Armor. Ice Blast Armor is the best weapon in the game. Best weapon in the game. It's good on every single champion. It gives you that window of opportunity where you can accidentally get hits and freeze an enemy and freeze all the enemies around you. And when you evolve it, you get a shield. But you don't buy it for the evolve. You buy it just for that utility. So basically like Seraphine or Aurora, those get out of jail free cards, this is the get out of jail free card in one weapon. So I think it's the best item in the game. You want to build this on every champion basically. Even DPS champions, even Jinx, even Zaya, you want to build Ice Blast Armor. Now the Silicone Slicers, I think. It's not silicone. Something slicers. The slicers I think are I'm going to put it in S tier, and I'm going to explain why. Later in the game, once you beat level 3, you get Ice Blast Armor. You don't have to beat it, but once you play on it, you get Ice Blast Armor. The slicers are the best defense ability, in my opinion, before you get this one, the Ice Blast. If you're going in AoE routes, I think this is really good as well. But once you evolve it, it's permanently up. There's no cooldown, and it's permanently just knocking back enemies. So every time I build this weapon and I evolve it, nothing can touch me. I'm just like AFK, sit in one spot basically. So I think this is a really good defensive opportunity if you don't have Ice Blast Armor unlocked. The Echoing bat blades. I'm going to put it in C tier. I think it's only good when you're playing on like the third map because it's so small. There's a lot of walls that I can bounce off of, and maybe on beach where you are in those tight hallways before you get to the beach. I know on the first map as well, if you go to the very top left corner, there is like four boxes that spawn up there. You can just stand kind of like almost in the corner, not entirely because of spawns, but you can stand there and it'll just like do a lot of damage because of that. But because naturally you run around the map and it's pretty open, this weapon's not that good. The train. The train is only good when you want to farm for gold, basically. If you don't want to farm for gold, I usually pass this item up. And even when I am farming for gold, I still kind of like pass this item up. It's not that great. So I'm going to put it in D tier. The battling bunny guns, I think it's Gatling bunny guns. I think the Gatling bunny guns is not great, and I'm going to put it in B tier. I think it's one of the items that you get at the very beginning, which is why I'll put it in B tier. But when you get later in the game, there's just better options. And the only reason why I'm putting this in B tier, maybe I'll put it even in C tier towards the end of the video, is because you have to build duration with this. I don't think any champions want duration except for Alawi. So she's really not good. Not good. This item's not good. So I'm going to put it in B or C. Probably C tier. The Lioness Lament. This item I think is one of the first items you get as well in the game. The only reason why I don't like it is because it forces you to play up and down, right? So because it shoots horizontally, even when you evolve it, it's good when you evolve it, but again, it forces you to play horizontally. So you have to focus on moving up and down so that those mobs don't hit you. And naturally, when you play this game, you kind of just go in a circle, so it doesn't really do that much damage when you're it doesn't do any damage to the enemies that are above and below you. So because of that, I'll put it in B tier. The singed boots. I forgot what they're called. Paw Prints Poisoner. This is only good when you want to farm for gold, or if you're playing Riven. Those are basically the only options, right? So because it's basically limited to one champion, I'm gonna put it in C tier. Now, in the case you do build this, it does help you kind of like how Anti-Mines does, where it kills the enemies behind you. That way you can focus on the enemies in front of you. So I will put this in C tier. Now the Radiant Field. This one it's S tier on tanks, for sure. S tier on tanks. Probably up here for tanks, right? You definitely want this on a tank. However, you don't play tanks all the time, right? So if you're not playing a tank, it's F tier for playing a tank. If you're not playing a tank, I think it's more on the C tier. C tier or D tier, honestly. But because some people play tanks, some people don't, I'll put it in B tier naturally. Just right in the middle. Right in the middle. Depends on what you're playing. This one is very, very subjective. The Searing Short Bow. I only take this if I need areas. If I'm building area size, like for example on Briar, I'll build this, but very rarely. I'll only build this if I can't find a bunny crossbow. That's it. And you'll see there's a lot of situations where if you can't find bunny crossbow, these are better. These are other alternatives. So Searing Short Bow, because if you can't find bunny crossbow, you'll build it. I'll put it in B tier. Yeah, I'll put it in B tier. Because when it lands very static, and it lands in a static spot, and that doesn't really help you that much. Static. I think static is really, really good. I'm definitely going to put it in A tier. That's all I have to say. It's a very balanced weapon. Helps you. It has some good kind of AoE with the chain effect that goes on, and it helps the melee champions as well. Annihilator. Annihilator is one of those weapons where you build it for either farming for gold or if you are building utility. If you can't find Ice Blast armor, or if you can't find the slicers, I think the Annihilator is the best choice to put in between them, or put if you cannot find them. So because of that, I'm going to put it at the very end at S tier. It's a good defensive option if you can't find these. Tibbers. Scales with duration as well. That's why it's D tier. I'd still pick the Gatling Bunny Guns over Tibbers because it just does more damage. But Tibbers, scales with duration, we don't want to build duration. So Tibbers, D tier. Ooh Blaster. Ooh Blaster is the second best item in the game. Second best item in the game. It works on every single champion. If you're melee, it helps you with getting that range. So for example, if you're going against the Golem mini boss, the Elite, it helps you with that. If you're going against the bombs that come at you, it helps you kill the bombs. If you're melee. If you're ranged, it just does an insane amount of damage extra, right? So I think the Uwu Blaster is the best damage item in the game, does the most damage. So that's about it for Uwu Blaster. Now Vortex Glove. Vortex Glove I'll build if I can't find Bunny Crossbow. That's basically it. So if I can't find Bunny Crossbow, I'll build the Vortex Glove. But in my opinion, I don't think the Vortex Glove is that great. I'll probably put it in C tier. And Yumi Bots. Yumi Bot is not good. It's only good if you want to farm gold. That's about it. Doesn't do damage. It just runs around the map and gets XP for you, and that's about it. So if you're farming for gold, definitely pick Yumi Bot. So let's see if I want to fix this tier list up a little bit. These 5 items are definitely S tier. I'm not changing these. These are all S tier in the exact order. A tier. Maybe I'll put this up one. Again, remember Radiant Field is S tier if you are a tank. And this is S tier if you're playing Riven or if you're farming for gold. Yeah, this seems about right. So this is my tier list for the weapons. I hope it helps you, and stay tuned for my next video, which I'll go over the abilities for Swarm. Thank you for watching.